Okay, so we're going to talk about perimeter and circumference. Perimeter, how many people know what perimeter is? Raise your hand. All right, so is it the inside? Is everything inside? No, it's everything outside. It's that outside fence, right? It's that outside edge. So the perimeter of this, I'd have to add this plus 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 this. Now, did I give you the length of every side?
Nope.
What sides did I miss? Yeah. Noah first, and then Mark.
I guess the line like in between the two.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this we don't know. We need to figure that out. What about this one?
It's the same length as that side.
Yeah, so because I said that this is going to be the same height as this one, so I noticed this one they gave me, so I'm going to make this a 9. But how would I figure out this? Because I can't figure out the perimeter until I have figured that out. Graham, what would you do?
Because the bottom is 15, so and then there's 3 and 4 as there's like long, so you match with things like 7, and then 15 minus 7 is 8.
All right, perfect. So he's saying that the bottom is 15, and up here, 15 minus 3 minus 4 will give me what's ever left over. Does that make sense? So I could say 15 minus 4 minus 3, that's minus 7, right? 15 minus 7, which is equal to 8, right? So we now know that this is 8. Does everybody understand how I got that? Fist to 5, do you get how I got that? Okay, good. All right, so now we're ready to find the perimeter. Now that we're sure all the sides are represented. So now, what would I do? So I would just add, right? 9. What's 9 plus 9? That's always easy. 18, right? So there's that one, 18. And then I have 15, that's easy. And then I have 3 and 4, that's 7. Put those together. I have 5 and 5.
10.
That's 10. And then I have an 8. Did I get them all? I think so. I got the 9 and the 9, 18, the 15, the 3 and the 4, that's 7, the 5 and the 5, 10, and the 8. Yep. So now I just add them together. And we'll say that these are inches. So 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21, plus 7 is 28. Sometimes I'll just choose which ones I add to which because I'm kind of better at some things, right? I forgot what I just said. 28? Is that right? 8, 15, 28, yes. Okay, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 58. So my perimeter is equal to 58 what? Inches, right. Good. So those units are really important in math. Whenever you're given units, you have to give your answer in units, otherwise you get part of it wrong, right? Some teachers take off more than others, but it's really important that you get in that habit. If you know if it's meters or inches or miles or feet or, you know, whatever, centimeters, you want to put that in there. So that's perimeter. That's pretty straightforward, right? How many people already knew this? All right, good, awesome. Because that's what I would expect. That's what I'd want. Now, can I erase this now? Okay. Is that okay? For sure? Okay. All right. Then we have a circle. What is the difference between perimeter and circumference? Aiden.
Circumference is for a circle.
Right. It's really the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the outside fence. It's the outside area. I mean, outside length, right? The only trouble is, with a perimeter, you're dealing with straight lines, right?
Yeah.
But with a circumference, you're dealing with a curved line. And because it's a curved line, it's a little harder sometimes to find that distance, right? A little harder. But if we have the center of the circle right here, right? And And let's say we know, well, let's just say this is R. What does R stand for?
Radius.
Radius. And we'll say this is D. What does D stand for? All right, so R is radius. And then D is diameter. I never write in lowercase, it's very weird. But what is the circumference of a circle? How many people remember that formula? Seriously, you don't have to say it. Just raise your hand if you remember this formula. It's hard. It's hard. Some people really forget it. Abby, what do you think? What do you think? You don't remember? Okay.
360.
Okay, 360 degrees is the amount of degrees in an entire circle. But I'm looking for the circumference. That's the angle. The 360 degrees is the angle. I'm looking for the outer edge. Does that make sense? You see the difference? So from here to here, well, let's say that was a 90-degree angle right there, right? So from here to here is 90. From here to here is 180. And then from here to here is 180. So from here to here is 360 degrees, right? So that's the angle, of a circle. But yes.
Is it are you asking like how to get to it?
Well, I just want to know, what is the formula for circumference?
It's like with the middle line and just.
So I want to know what this is. The circumference is this outer edge, so I want to know what
Which
the.
one do you know, like the full line or just the half R?
Say what? I'm not hearing
Would that
this.
be 2 times
Okay. Yes, exactly. So there's actually 2 different ways to write this formula. That's what you're asking. Yeah, okay. So 2 pi r. Okay, that's one way to write it. But what are 2 r's? 2 r's, let's see. If that's 1 r, here's another r. What is an r? 2 r's are a diameter. So instead of having 2r, I could write pi times d. You see the difference? They're the same thing. It's totally the same thing. So you can use either one. Sometimes it's easier to use one than the other because you've already got things written out as a diameter, or some things are written out already as a radius. So these 2 are your formulas for circumference. Now what is pi? All right, what is that? Oh, okay, Becca, what were you going to say? Right. So basically, pi is 3.14, and it actually goes on forever. It's 3.1415, it goes on forever and ever and ever. Never stops, and it never repeats itself. It's like one of those weird numbers, right?
But won't it get to a certain point where it has to repeat itself?
It won't. Isn't that weird? It won't. It will never repeat itself. And we're going to talk about those kind of numbers eventually. But pi is just one of those weird things. And the way they found pi is, I believe it was the Greeks, right?
Yeah.
That did all this. They were so into the circle. They were so into lots of shapes. They were so into geometry. It's an amazing thing how much they knew about geometry. And they said, okay, everything. They wanted to know what everything related. They wanted to know how the diameter related to everything in a circle. And so they actually took a diameter and they took a string or something that would bend easily, and they cut it exactly the size of that diameter. And then they started piecing that diameter here, and it stopped right here. From here to here, it stopped. And then they took it and they started from here and brought it over here, and from here to here it stopped. And then they brought it over here and went here, and it stopped right here. And this is where we started, right here. And so it was 3.1415 1415 whatever diameters would create your circumference. No matter what size circle you have, whether it's gigantic or little or whatever, everything, that's what pi is about. It's telling you how many diameters are in the circumference of the circle, right? So, so our circumference is going to be pi, the number of diameters, times whatever the diameter is, right? Does that make sense? That's all it is. Or if you don't know, if you're given it in radius, you could say 2 pi r, 2 times the radius, which is the diameter, times pi. So let's say I said this radius is equal, let me just erase this so that it doesn't confuse you. Let's say I said radius is equal to 10. So I would just plug that in to this one. I could say circumference is equal to 2 pi times 10. Okay, is it legal to do this? Say 2 times 10 is 20, and then say 20 pi. Is that legal? You know? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? All right, let's just try it with a number. 2 times 4 times 5. 2 times 4 is what? All right, 8 times 5 is what? 40, right? So we got 40 that way. Let's do 2 times 5 is what? 10 times 4 is 40. So it makes no difference what order you multiply things in. Does that make sense? So it's okay to say 2 times 10 is 20 times pi. So I could say now C is 20 pi. So my circumference is 20 pi. And if I were going to, you know, if I had a calculator, I'd do it more easily. But what is it? 62.8. So basically it's 20 times 3.14. That's the average sort of, that's the rounded version that most people use when they're giving an average, but it won't be an exact answer. It's close, but it's not exact. Because this is not, this never ends, the decimal never ends. I'm sorry, what was it one more time?
62.8.
Okay, so that is equal to, C is equal to 62.8. And if I had said that was meters, then I would say meters. Right? That make sense? So we're only talking about the length of a line. So it would only be meters. If we were talking about area, all the stuff inside, then it would be squared. Right, it would be pi r squared. And so you'd actually have meters squared. But whenever you're talking about the perimeter or the circumference, the answer is going to be in just like meters or inches or feet or, you know, whatever, right? So does that make sense? So let's try one. Let's say here's a circle, and I'm going to say the diameter this time is 10. So figure out what the answer is. What is the answer? What is the circumference of this? When you have it, raise your hand, just so I have it. So if the diameter, in this case, I would probably use this formula. And the one thing that's really nice about using 10 is all I have to do is move my decimal one place over. Right? Remember that? You know that rule? When you multiply a decimal times 10, you just move that decimal over one to the right. So, okay, let me think. Aiden, what do you got?
31.4.
Right. Because think about it. If circumference is 10 pi, right? You might have written pi times 10. That's fine. But usually you put the pi last and the number first, right? But 10 times pi. So that is 10 times 3.14. And whenever you multiply something by 10, you just move this decimal over one place. So it's 31.4. Good. And we're talking, I'm sorry, I didn't say again. So we're saying call this feet. So we'll call that feet. Okay? 31.4 feet. So that's how you find circumference, right, of a circle. All right. Can I erase all this?
Yeah.
I'll give you just a second. So sometimes you have a combination of like rectangles and circles in a shape, right? Can I erase now?
Yes.
All right. And so you have to think about, how to solve those. To find perimeter, if they ask for the perimeter on something like this. Let's see if I can find one from 2 and 3. All right, and we're going to call these centimeters. And that's centimeters. Okay? So when you have something like this, did they give us all the sides that we need? Not really. But we do know this. We know that this side is the same as this side, right? So we know this is 10 centimeters. But how do we know this side? How do you figure out this side? They didn't give it to us. Did they? There is something you can do. If I had a circle, and here's my center, and I say this is a radius, right? This radius is 3. What is this radius?
3.
It's also 3. What is this radius?
3.
It's also 3. What is this radius?
3.
It's also 3. All radiuses of a circle are 3. So look, I fooled you by putting the radius over here. But I could merely bring this up here, and from here to here is 3. That's 3. And from here to here is 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you see that? So really, this length from here to here is 6. So I could call this 6 centimeters. Do you understand how I got that?
Yeah.
This to 5? This to 5, so I know for sure. Okay, good, awesome. Now, the difference with a perimeter, finding the perimeter of something like this. So I'm going to just say up here, so find the perimeter. So, would you agree with me it's going to be this side, plus this side, plus this side. Now, do I do this side?
No.
No.
No, because that's not really a side. This is the 4th side. Now, is that a circle?
No, it's a half of a circle.
It's a half of a circle. So how would you know what the perimeter of the circumference is of a half of a circle?
R times pi is like R, or like it's radius times pi, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she was thinking, oh, well, because if circumference is 2 pi r, a half of a circle, right? A half of a circumference, meaning half of a circumference is equal to 1/2 times 2 pi r. And you guys remember from our doing fractions, look, boom, boom. So the 1/2 times 2 just becomes 1, right? And so really, half of the circumference of half of a circle is equal to pi times r, right? Or you can just figure out the circumference of a whole circle and divide by 2, right? You know, multiply by half or divide by 2. So Gabe, what would I do?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay, so you would multiply pi times the radius and also add up 10, 10,
it's
All right, so pi
6.
times radius. So pi times 3. So 3 pi is equal to 3.4. What is it? 3 times 3.14. So I'm going to just. So 3 times 3 is 9.42, right? So that's pi. So that's. What did I just do that for? Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So that is the. What is that?
That is the circumference of half.
That's the circumference of half the circle. So this from here all the way over to here is 9.42 centimeters. You guys with me?
26.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've got 10 plus 10.
20.
So we're going to do 10 plus 10 plus 6 plus 9.42, right? So that'd be 2635, am I right? 0.42. Is that what you guys got? And it's going to be what? Centimeters, right? And so that's my perimeter of that weird shape. Does that make sense? So, questions. Do you want to do another one to just practice? Because these are a little confusing for people, usually, I find. And can I erase this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to just use my same shape, but I'm going to change the numbers in the shape. All right. Oh, maybe I'll do one. I'll do this. Okay, so this is 4 inches. This, from here to here, is 6. I didn't draw it to scale, just so you know. 6. This is 5 inches. And I'm going to give you that all these are right angles. Okay? So, they didn't give me this side. They didn't give me this side. All they gave me was from here to there, that's 4 inches. So what is it from here to here?
It's 4.
That would be a radius again, right? From here to here is another radius, so it would also be 4 inches. So this is 4 inches here. And what about from here to here? 4 inches? You guys with me on this? Does it make sense? So I've got a 4 inches here and 4 inches here, plus 6 inches. So 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 6 is 14. Would you agree with me that should equal this? 14 inches, right? Good. Now, what about this side? What would it be? 8. 10. Because the radius here is 5, so from here to here is 5, and from here to here is 5. So that would be 5 plus 5 is 10, so this would be 10. All right. Now, the last thing we need is, well, actually, the last 2 things, unfortunately, is we have 2 circles. We've got to find half circles, 2 half circles. We've got to find that. And we said pi r was the circumference for half of a circle is pi times r. So pi for this circle is pi times r, pi times 4. So which is equal to 4 pi, which is equal to 4 times 3.14, which is equal to 12.456. Am I right?
I think it's 5 too.
5.
4 times 4 is 4 is 16. Carry the 1, 5. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 12. I think that's right. Am I right? All right, so this now, that was this one, right? So this now is, that is, where did I put it? 12.56. Now I have to do this one. Half of a circumference is pi times r, which is equal to 5 pi, which is, does anybody have a calculator?
It's 15.7.
So I'm now doing this circumference. All right, I just finished this one. Now I'm doing this one. It's 15 point what? 15.7. So here to here is 15.7. So now I just have to add them all up, right? So I have 12.56. I'm going to put this one next to it, 15.70. And then I have a 6 here. And then I have a 14 and a 10, which is 24. Did I get everything? 12.56, and then 15.70, and then 6, and then 10 plus 14 is 24. Okay, so good. So we're going to bring that to 6. 7 and 5 is 12. Boom. My decimal. Carry the 1. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 2, 4, 5. So that should be, if I did it right, is my perimeter. Does that make sense? It's a little complicated. It gets a little annoying sometimes. But, so here's the homework. And you can get started if you want right away. So take out your homework binder. Homework, whatever that thing's called. Homework. Thank you. Homework. For math. 7. So we're going to do page 12 to 13. Oh, well, wait. Read chapter, or lesson 3. And then do pages 12 through 13, numbers A through E. This is called, I'm going to write it like this, practice, because that's what these are called, A through E. That means you're doing A, B, C, D, and E. Does that make sense? Yeah. Is that clear? And that's 5, and then let's just say, and then also numbers 1 through 4. It's not that much. It won't take you that long. Okay? Yeah.
Do you do every single problem on page 12 through 13?
You do pages 12 through 13. This practice starts at the bottom of page 12. A and B are on the bottom of page 12. On 13, there's C, D, E. And then it goes 1 through 30. But you're only doing 1 through 4. So just do all of those. Okay? And you can get started. You've got about 5 minutes. So you might as well just get started, get some done. And yeah, or read it. Read the chapter. That was a long lecture, sorry. I'm a little slow to